What's up, backyard bassing fans? All right, finally getting a break in the weather. This morning I think we had it about 48 or 49 degrees here, so it was a little bit of a cold snap going. We had just 93 or 94 just the other day, so finally getting that little bit of a cold snap. Finally going to get that fall bite coming. It's going to be happening quick. But today I want to go over to you guys what I typically throw and what I'm typically doing this time of year, because it can actually be kind of a tough bite right at that beginning, you know, that just that transition period there, getting into it and actually getting to that fall bite. So first off, I'll show you guys, see this one here. These are probably going to be my top two topwater baits that I'm going to go with. One being the spook. That's kind of just an all-time favorite of mine. I absolutely love the spook. I love the way it walks. The sexy dog is another one that I throw a lot. But both of them are very, very good. Now I'm typically going to throw this on more of an open water. If I'm coming down the bank, I'm going to get parallel with the bank and get as close as I can and just kind of walk it down the bank as much as I possibly can. And I want to cover water. That is my whole goal in the fall, is I want to cover water. I don't want to sit in one spot. Bass are going to get schooled up. They're going to be in one spot here or there, but you want to find that school. So don't waste your time sitting in one or two spots. You know, just keep moving. Second one, going to be, you know, just a regular like old popper. This is actually the Arashi by Storm. This is a pretty good one I really like. It's got a real good deep cup action to it. Now, I'm going to fish this either right up on the bank, or I'm going to be around docks with it. Going in and out of docks, if you've got a lake that has a lot of docks on it, this thing works phenomenal. The spook does too, just not as good, I don't think. I think the popper works a little bit better, just around docks and stuff like that. But typically that's about my two baits that I really throw on top water, you know, in the fall. We'll move on from there. Now that's covering the top of the water. So second one, if I'm still fishing bank, you got to go with the square bill, guys. These are the two sizes I typically use. I bounce back and forth in between these two, and typically what I'll do is I'll have both of these tied on. You know, this is the 1.5. Oh, that's the 1.5. I forget what size this actually is, but it's a smaller. I think it's like a 2-inch. I think. I'll have to look it up and see, but I think that's a 2-inch. But this little bait right here, you know, it gets murdered out there. I mean, they just kill this little thing. But the reason I go back and forth between these two is because of the bait size. Just trying to figure out, you know, if it's a smaller bait or if it's a little bit bigger bait, you know, and I'll bounce back and forth in between both of these, and usually I can get bit on both of them. A lot of times you're going to get a little bit smaller ones on this, but that's a good thing. You want to get that school fired up and going, then you can step up to that little bit bigger size. Even go into the 2.5s if you want, you know, get a little bit bigger fish in there. So that's typically before I get off the bank or, you know, throw it out any deeper than that. So that's usually what I'll go with. On from there, if I'm getting into schools, guys, if it's windy out, spinnerbait. A spinnerbait all day long. I will go if it's windy out and it's got chop on the water. Tackle Junkie and I both went fishing last Monday. I will tell you guys, you get a chop on the water and there's wind blowing, you can't hardly beat a spinnerbait in the fall transition or into the fall bite. It is just absolute killer. You see here, I don't throw a trailer hook very often at all. I just, if I do, it's only because I'm throwing like probably a bigger trailer on the back of it or something like that, which I don't throw a whole lot of trailers. I usually just go straight spinnerbait, but just something to think about when you're doing it or whatever though. But yeah, that's a killer bait. Second one is going to be just a regular old swim bait, weighted hook. If I'm fishing up around grass or around close to the bank, you know, I'll go with that weightless setup. If I'm fishing offshore, I'm definitely going jig head. You know, I want an exposed hook out there. I want the best hookup ratio possible when I'm fishing out there, that I don't have to worry about getting stuck on anything or whatever. And a lot of times them bass will come up and actually just, you know, swipe out a lot of times or whatever, but if you have that exposed hook, you'll have a lot better hookup ratio with that. So that's the second one. Third one, you just can't go without the rattle trap. Rattle traps are just killer, man. They absolutely get killed. If I've got a big school that I'm in, this is something I'm going to go through there, and I'll even yo-yo it and just rip it through there. I'll do a quick retrieve. If I'm doing quick retrieves, though, I will tell you guys I usually go to about a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce rattle trap just to keep it down far enough, and I want to come right through the middle of that school. If there's a lot of bait fish up closer to the surface, you know, I'm either going to go top water or I'm going to go with a lighter rattle trap. And the reason being is you can keep that lighter rattle trap only about 1 or 2 feet underneath the water. So, and it'll come right through them real quick without any problems. So, and that's a good bait too. So, moving on from there, I got 2 things that I throw in the fall. Probably one of my number 1 things is the jig. The jig just absolutely gets hammered in the fall. A lot of people try to get off that summer bite, you know, that big worms and big jig bite and stuff like that. Guys, it's not gone. This is probably one of the best times of year to throw a jig. And the reason being is a lot of your male fish, your bucks and stuff like that, they're going to be at the top of that food chain. They're going to be up there trying to feed first because they're typically smaller. So your bigger females are going to be a little bit deeper water. And I don't mean like they're going to be offshore deep. I mean, if you've got a school of fish and they're setting in, let's say, 8 foot of water, a lot of times what happens is your smaller fish are going to be up around 4 foot or 3 foot. They're looking for them schools, them bait fish schools. And then your bigger females and stuff like that are actually going to be down below them because they're going to be watching. So if you guys get on a jig bite in the fall, I'm telling you, you're probably going to get the bigger fish out of that school. And you can still throw big worms and stuff too. I typically don't throw a lot of big worms in the fall, but I do stay on that bigger jig bite. This is probably the best time of year that I'll say that I'll throw a 3/4 ounce jig because I want to get it down there. I want it down deep on the bottom because when your bigger females get into that and they're staging down there and just waiting and watching those bait fish, you hop those things across there and right in front of their face, it is like a freight train hits those things. They're hungry, they're wanting to feed up for the winter, and they hammer it. So don't throw out that jig yet. You know, it's not over yet. So that's pretty much what I got, guys, for my fall bites and what I typically throw. Like I said, just keep moving, keep covering water. That's the best thing you can do until you start hitting schools. You could have, you know, a couple 100-yard stretch of bank that you don't hit nothing on, and all of a sudden you just hit one little spot that really doesn't look any different than others, and all of a sudden you just start getting hit. It's probably because you're in a bait school, and there's bass around them and they're feeding. You know, so do it as much as you can. Stay right there. A lot of times with those bait balls, what they'll do is you'll see them at the top of the water coming up, and you'll see, you know, little bait fish flickering around and stuff like that. Stay with them. A lot of times you can kind of see them. Get yourself a good pair of polarized sunglasses. Watch for them, and just keep following them. You keep following them, the bass are going to keep following them too. So just stick with them as much as you can and keep tossing to them. And I hope you guys catch a big one. And we'll see you guys again next time. Thanks.